'Twas the blog before Christmas, and if that's the case you will see, it's time to rhyme the Weird Mind newsroom and go again for a round 3. We have the usual content, so let's not stay in a jam, with releases, trailers and news to discuss, or else my name is not Sam. So let's not focus our issues on the normal into speak, let us actually delve into talking all things that came out for this week.
The game was rigged from the start.
So the first of the releases gives us a sense of visual splendor to Adora, as after another 3-year gap, it is time that we return to the land of Pandora, as it's a return to a project Mr. James Cameron doesn't make in a flash, as we have the release of the third film in the series with Avatar: Fire and Ash. This will see us back to the species the Na'vi and follow the continued stories of the family of Jake Sully, who must protect his family from Quaritch and the military he's seen as quite evil, when it becomes a case that the Colonel becomes acquainted and teams up with the new threat of Na'vi known as the Ash People. Reception on this project seems like a modest ordeal, with high praise and the visuals that make it seem so very real, though it seems that the case most issues stem to the narrative plot being not a fully great seal, and for the use of new villain is one that I don't really know how to feel. Now in the case I was invited to the premiere and had a great time, and my opinions are not final yet, but I will give it a point that's not in rhyme. But if in case you would like to give this one a view, then you can see this new one that's out now in cinemas too. But if the likes of the blue people do not appeal and the runtime makes you feel gloomy, then I would suggest a different option in the form of as it's time for a new film from the series that has a narrator that sounds like he's from France, as we have the newest film based on Spongebob with The Search for SquarePants. The plot shall see the Sponge on a new adventure full of treachery. He tries to find a way to prove that he has a strong sense of bravery, so he and Patrick become part of the Flying Dutchman's ghostly crew and head to the deep realm of the underworld to prove his true worth there too. Reception on this new film seems to be very strongly praised, with appeal to its animation, story, humor and positive messages that may lead people to be amazed. This isn't as interesting to you this holiday and it's easy to take the plunge. You can see this new movie in cinemas too to watch the new adventure of the famous sea sponge. The last new releases will bring a strong sense of a new focus on action, as it's time and the focus of a new take on a video game adaptation, as it's time once again to return to a lifestyle full of dangers to get through, with time to return to a land with the release of Fallout Season 2. The season sees Lucy, Dog, Minnie Cooper continue across a land so dangerous it is seen as courageous, as we come across a place that used to be full of glitz and glam, a place known as New Vegas, where through rancors, outlaws and gangs it will still journey to find her father to give a change of heart, but it may seem from the past that it was all rigged from the start. Reception on this series seems to be a great appeal as the first, with praise in its story, characters, and respect in the games to make the viewers feel that much more immersed. But if you want to watch the project and take a trip that's worth your well-earned dimes, then you can watch the first episode now and a new one every Wednesday on Amazon Prime. And now there is no more media I can add to the pieces, because that's all we have for this week's new releases.
Hi, how are you?
What's the meaning of this?
I took your advice. From now on, I'm normal.
The first of the trailers is a film that may be a bit of an interesting appeal for all of those that have a sense of loving an action-based feel, as the likes of a place can have an appeal of a nice cozy fit, but could be the cover of some dark secrets beneath it. It will be down to some action, but make it look a little formal, as we have received the trailer for the new film that's known as Normal. The film is set in a town of New Jersey, a place so quiet and keen, as see a new temp sheriff make his presence on the scene. But once a crime occurs and the town goes to hell, it's down to this sheriff to discover and take down this massive shady crime underbelly. Sometimes it's the case that with these simple action-based ideals, that in some form of instance they may have some elements of the simple basic appeal. But while I can say this in a way that makes it sound so oddly, the tone and action main star makes it feel close to Odenkirk's action films of Nobody. Though it seems like in my case it could sound harsh or a bit too shrew, it seems to be much more of an appeal so far in the form of the early reviews. I guess we'll see in due time of how much as well become an appealing action staple when this film makes a release into the cinemas from the 17th of April. The next trailer is needed in a genre that is needed some new elements to supply, as we are heading back to the appealing genre of sci-fi. And while it's a case that some of these may work, it can be said that some of the best of the genre comes from the man known as Spielberg. And while it may be a while for him tackling this genre and a bit unclear to describe and display, we could try and make a guess with the trailer of this new film of Disclosure Day. Now the plot of this project is a little bit vague, but I will give it a guess to give or take. It brings a case of wonder if we found we were not alone, and a secret or power that has just been suddenly shown. If the sense were unclear and proven to you, and would you have wondered if the ideals would frighten you? I do have to say I'm interested in this concept, though after a few watches I still have a lot of thoughts and theories to process. I see the filming, ideals and cast are quite solid all around, even if some mixes of the trailer's footage audio was not completely sound. I guess all the answers and ideals will be answered real soon when the answers are released into cinemas from the 12th of June. The last of the trailers is a concept that may have gone and done it, as we have another trip into the growing appeal genre of the whodunit. As it likes the group discovering a death may be a big shock, especially when the victim was a carer of your flock. As the concept may be dumb, but may turn out effective, as we have the release of the trailer of the new mystery film known as The Sheep Detectives. The film sees a tale of a very friendly shepherd who under strange circumstances sees his lifeline become severed. With no order better than from his sheep flock to solve the case, they'll find clues and use their own rules to help catch and put the killer in their place. It has been the case that we have seen many films of late based on the ideals of murder mystery, but this focus of a concept is one I have not seen in recent history. The ideal may seem dumb, but in the case is all based on a book. In all sense of the word, it could well worth taking a look. I'm sure we will see more, and soon this woolly flock will have their day when this new mystery is unleashed into cinemas from the 8th of May. So that is all the studios and editors could tailor, as this brings us to the end of this week's new trailers. So the focus of the news for this week is with some smaller stories to be lodged. It's time the focus of the usual weekly media hodgepodge, with a focus of dates and announcements of ideas that have the plans to create, to an array of casting auditions or projects that may lead to a fair bit of debate. I'm sure there's pieces less bleak that you do plan to find and seek, but let us see what media aspects have been presented to us this week. We start casting first, and do this now rather than later, as the first casting news relates to the upcoming new adaptation of Tomb Raider. As it assumes this actor has continued to focus case of his luck, as the upcoming live-action take is confirmed the casting of Jason Isaacs. The case that may know was recent from the popular White Lotus, so the case of his casting could be well worth a notice. And the case of this casting could be a possible ally or return of a bad boy, as we've seen him play villains such as Lucius Malfoy. For the moment now it's unclear and don't have much else to talk or show, but if I hear more I'll provide in a later episode with the know. But that's not the only casting, so don't feel the sense of sorrow, as thankfully we have one more casting news, and it's about the Man of Tomorrow. Now there is many a question and many can be renowned a million, but in this focus, this news relates to the film's upcoming villain. Now many have wondered who is the film's new crazed maniac. Well, it's more of a cosmic foe than people may know as Brainiac. As while on Saturday, as I was writing they officially confirmed the casting the role with an actor named of Lars Eldinger. Now, while his credentials may not be known for many, he has appeared in a few known projects like Burton's Dumbo or the recent J. Kelly. It's a case for a wider release that his acting credits may not be well known, but I'm sure by the release of this project that his planned status will soon be grown. I'm intrigued to see what happens and see how this will all turn out, and get an idea of his master plan and what it's all about. I'm sure more new cast additions will be added to this project real soon, and I of course will provide a later episode for when they do too. Now on to project announcements, and this one maybe get you mentally spiraling, as we are heading back to the vast and creative world of the beloved indie darling. I hope you are prepared for the fight and the journey that may be along, but we are heading back to once again to the world of Hollow Knight Silksong. It came from the news this week from something to look forward to the future of tomorrow, as we announced some new DLC in the form of the Sea of Sorrow. It's an all new expansion, so I hope it fills you with glee, as the best part of this is that it will be confirmed to be releasing for free. Something nice to get excited for the return to be merry, and shown the case of great skill and work for the creative minds of Team Cherry. So I do hope you will be prepared for Return to Battle visual mix when this new free expansion makes its way out in sometime in 2026. The next of the news is one of many announcements that make a little dizzy, as we have some news with an ever-growing amount of live-action adaptations from Disney. It is safe to say there's a lot of live-action affair, from witches, gods, princesses, and even a girl with very long hair. Well, it's a case there's another one, and it's not going to be the last one. As it was confirmed earlier this week, there's a new film based on the character of Gaston. Now this will be different to the Beast remake, so it's not back for seconds, which means in the case the role is not played again by Mr. Luke Evans. It's a shame because I liked him. I thought his performance was great. It was one of the things I thought they really did well with that remake. Now, source in this film will not be the original from the character's perspective, but will be more focused adventure with a more swashbuckling directive. Now, no new plans for project dates or the interesting approach has been set as of yet, but if more news on this comes along, then I will delve later on, so you can bet. The last on some announcements is in the focus of a deal, of one being less stressful and focus more on a franchise with a fair amount of feel, because this ordeal maybe bring more interest and joy all between us, as it was announced this week that Sony Pictures had bought the franchise rights for the Peanuts. But this is a case of good news, so I'm not wear a frown, as it may see a return of more films and ventures for Snoopy, Woodstock, and good old Charlie Brown. I can see the appeal, I can see the potential. The more new films and shows respect the source material as an essential. Now I enjoyed the last film as it had a look and appealing style of art, and I hope with the deal with more franchise we'll see more of a stronger dose of heart. But I hope some more projects will come with this in the future, we will see, but I'll update in a future episode if there is great potential. hopefully. Now on to dates, and the first is keeping it cartoony, as the first of these date announcements was one I was waiting and nearly getting loony. As after a long wait to hear on a date, it finally landed with a thump, as this week we finally got the UK and Ireland cinema release date for The Day the Earth Blew Up. Now the wait is a little while longer and just a little more temporary, as the film now has a set release date for cinemas on the 13th of February. So I'm excited to see this, and I have this really great, and with the final release date then I'm sure will be well worth the wait. So I'm all for this new 2D animation that finally appear, and I'll be on the way to check this film out when it finally releases next year. The next date news will be playing the music and the time to light the lights, because the next new date has not to do with a bit of the Muppet Show Tonight. We talked on this project before, and it seems they're now on budget, as we have a release date for a new special based on the Muppets. Now the date isn't real soon, so it'll give us all some warmth, as the first pilot special is set to release on February 4th. It is all of an appeal, and I hope the singing voices for them are sharpener, as of course this special will also have the guest of one Sabrina Carpenter. I'm intrigued to see what characters and other concepts will appear, and hope to hear these. If this is a big success, it will eventually lead to a return of an all-new series. I guess not too long away, so it's not long to wait, but I look forward to watch this in February, so I do hope it will turn out great. This third day announcement fits the time frame and reason, as we are in the praise of what I like to see as a usual award season. While the case I can see it often the focus of these shows as trophies and talkers, because this story relates in the case of the award show of the Oscars. If there's one thing I can say is a bit of a testimony, the last few years trying to watch this normally is a mess to see the whole ceremony. Well, in a few years time this seems to be old news, as we'll have a new home to appeal to see and watch with a view, as in 2029, for if you so choose, the Oscars have confirmed they will stream the ceremony live on YouTube. This is a better ordeal and a better watch and spin, to sit comfortably and watch it anywhere in the perspective to see who will win. Now I see this as a better appeal, I will have a much better rater, but if anything, and I mean anything, is to please not be hosted by content creators. I will see how this works when it comes to this time, and hopefully will be a streaming success by the year of 2029. This last story present is one that's a bit close to late, as there is a sudden change of ordeal for a project release date. This project was nearly out and was in the process of an unknown state, which has now seen Universal and Blumhouse drop the release window for the film of Soulmate. Now for those that didn't know, it was a case that people are confused or mistaken, but this was a new spin-off based on the world and films of the character of Megan. The release of this film was real close in actuary, as this film was initially set for release on the 9th of January. Now this film has been quiet with no marketing trailers or anything, and the case of it having nothing may have been something that could be scary. Though the case of this decision may be seen as being late, it may benefit the case as early reports of test screenings were not that great. Currently as it stands, the project is being shopped around, but currently as things stand, the ordeal has not been found. The concept I'm sure may have a chance to be seen. If updates come up in the future, then I'm sure you will hear them from me. So what are your thoughts on this selection of news of the dates, cast announcements that I am sure may be win or lose? Let me know your thing in the comments below, and you can tell me if it's right or wrong, but you can let me know. And that is all we have, so please do not feel blue, but that is all we have for this week's news.
Which just goes to show that no matter how different we all are, everyone can get along with each other.
And now the case of the part of this high moon is there's an end of this week's rhyming Weird Mind newsroom. Now I hope you enjoyed and had a great time, and hopefully now you had some appeal of me doing this for a third time. Now just for some little updates to bring some hopeful joy and cheer that will be coming along very soon, so very far and near. We have more reviews on the way that will hopefully have a wider appeal, and some I hope will have your opinions on what you may help and make you feel. Of course there's someone the way that I hope you can only trust. I am sure at some point I will finally have the reviews for the 2 seasons of The Last of Us. I with some energy that I can get the ones I have made and give for a promise, as we will get to the point of giving the few available short reviews for the snack size box office. More like Sonic, Wicked, FNAF and more are on the way, I can report, as those reviews are in development and will be being very long and short. I know there's a lot of waiting, but I like to keep making sure it all sounds right, as much right and bright as I feel for love for some important people in my heart and life. But many more are coming along, and gather my thoughts on them too, and some from some important people to be included in some of them too. Gameplay wise currently is the usual affair. More Bonanza, Mario and Cyberpunk are on the way for me soon to share. We'll have many more games planned in mind for the foreseeable future. What they may be is a mystery, so keep your eye on your computers. Of course, as well as one thing I will start and will be one to authenticate, as I will play the Twilight Fall development of one for a game known as Ventilate. So all of them are coming, so don't be fooled, as more game is coming because all that is cool. The last section aspect is not much of any contest, but this is to do with a focus on more long form content. Those projects in AI and horror most bore are still happening, being developed, and they are a case not being ignored. Besides all those others, there's a rewatchathon too, with some fixes and final elements that I hope to have part 1 out for you sometime soon. It's also available of new timelines that will not cost you a dime, as the most recent build is of one bot known as Optimus Prime. More long form content will follow on soon, as those ideas will come to mind and get made on some days and afternoons. Now I may be going on just a little bit too long, but I think for now that's enough, so I'll try and do a bit of a wrap up on this one. Of course I'll be back with a new one moment soon, but give me your thoughts and discuss them down below too. Now I should leave you right now, but just to say, you stay being wonderful people and have a great day every day. And if you enjoyed all this content and would like to see more, then a like and a sub will be some warmth to my core. And a case of a nice present that I received and have arrived is that I reached my goal of 500 subs, which is a helpful boostable vibe. It has been quite a journey and I really thank you all. As many points of recent I've considered, do I continue this at all? I know this sounds morbid and the saying does not sound that bright, but giving me any form of chance has been quite a delight. I may not be much of an entertaining entity as there's a lot of things I'm dealing with that takes a great toll mentally, but I'm going to stop being low form and cause many concern of fears because I don't want to make things more sad and morbid and I start to break down into tears. But now I shall leave you all, but be back very soon. I hope you all enjoy the season and being festive, happy and cool. In that case as well, I asked that during the holiday season so gleeful is that if you have the chance, please to check in on your friends, family and all your fellow peoples, as you may need it when they do not know the direction in which way, but giving them the support and check-in can help in many ways and help make their day. But for now, I shall leave you right now, but I would just like to say, of course, again, you stay out, be wonderful people and have a great day every day. And given the season and its festive side, I shall sign off and say, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you all, and to all, a good night.